CEO Janno Lieber. He is going on the record. And Mr. Lieber is joining me now. Good to see you. Welcome back to Pick Some Politics.
Good to be with you.
So I want to begin with last week's train derailment on the LIRR train, right? Because we don't hear about train derailments too much. About a dozen people with minor injuries. The latest that you can tell us right now, as of this taping, because we tape before today, with the investigation and what exactly the cause may have been. Listen,
this could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
We're talking about an 8-car derailment, so basically every car on the train went off the rails. Doesn't happen frequently. It took. Fortunately, thanks to the FDNY and quick moves by the Long Island Railroad team, we were able to get everybody on a rescue train very quickly back to Jamaica, and the EMS was able to handle what seems to be minor injuries for a few people. The cause is very much still under investigation. It took place in this really busy complex of what we call an interlocking, where there are a lot of switches and signals, and there's a lot of movement between tracks. So that is clearly the area of focus for the professionals who have downloaded all the data, who are looking at all the video, but it's early in the investigation.
Right, but operator error, could that be ruled out?
No, it doesn't look like anything. It was a straight shot. He was under the speed limit. That seems very improbable, but we have to let the professionals do their investigation, and we'll come back at that.
All right, keep us posted there. And I want to talk now about the big story, which is, of course, the fare increases, right? And when you go out there, you talk to New Yorkers, which we have here at Pix 11, they understand that costs go up over time, right? But they want to know what they're getting with that cost. So fares go up, what are people going to see?
Listen, a little perspective. Think of where we were a year ago. We were like every transit system in America because of the downturn in ridership post-COVID. We all know about hybrid work and how it's affected commuting and transit ridership. We were looking at the risk of a massive fare increase. Controller DiNapoli, State Controller DiNapoli, was saying we might have to increase fares by $1 and cut service. We avoided that. How? Governor Hochul stepped up with a plan to balance the MTA's budget. She got the legislature to go along. And the result is all we're doing is restoring the pre-existing pattern, which was 4% increases every 2 years.
Right.
It's a way that you just keep the budget balanced. And now, thanks to governor, legislature, and this small fare increase, we're looking at balanced budgets for 5 years. What do you get?
Right.
You get the same, no cuts in service. I don't want working class and middle class commuters who depend on the subway to have to get less service because, frankly, affluent people, mostly in Manhattan, are riding less. We avoid any cuts in service. In fact, we're growing service, more service in the midday, more service on the weekends, more service at night. That's what you're getting in addition to a secure, balanced budget MTA.
Right, because people are saying, well, sometimes I work a late night shift. I'm waiting 13, 20 minutes for a train.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to provide more service. Interestingly, hybrid work definitely has cut into the morning and evening commutes, but we're seeing 80, 90% relative to pre-COVID ridership on the nights and the weekends. We want to grow service in those discretionary periods.
Right, and so that revenue you're going to make from that fare increase is going to go into your pot, right, to try to make up for some of the lost time. Then there's this idea of congestion pricing as well. The MTA counting on that revenue to fill some of the voids. Take a look right here at the screen. I want to show you some of this right here, because some of that opposition that we're hearing about congestion pricing is New Jersey, which is suing the federal government, Staten Island going in on that lawsuit and also suing the MTA. Taxi drivers want an exemption. So when you look at these things right here, right, what do you say about specifically the legal battles? Is that going to delay implementation of the actual program?
Listen, this is America. There are a lot of lawsuits on everything. But here's the bottom line is the congestion pricing was enacted by the state of New York in 2019. It's been on the books as a law for a long time. We're just the implementers. And the more important thing is the federal government looked at this for over a year. We did a 4,000-page analysis, and they approved it. So we're pretty confident that that's going to stand up to scrutiny in court, so people can.
Well, could it be delayed?
Listen, what we're not doing is we're not delaying anything. We're actually going ahead right now and installing the infrastructure, the cameras and the sensors. Everybody knows how you do toll collection these days. We're installing all the infrastructure and getting ready to implement it. When we finalize the tolling structure, which we're trying to keep down, by the way. One of the reasons you talk about people wanting exemptions and discounts, and we have 122 separate people or separate groups that have asked for exemptions and discounts, including farmers. But the bottom line is every one of those exemptions and discounts, if they were given, would raise the base toll for everybody else. We want to keep it down.
Understood. So are exemptions realistic, say, for Jersey, Staten Island, outer boroughs?
Listen, it's no secret. It was studied in that 4,000-page study that there might potentially be credit for people who are paying tolls to cross into the district already.
Right.
But all those things are being studied. The statute specifies that disabled people, ride for free, and that that folks who live in the zone, low-income folks who live in the zone, have certain exemptions. We're looking at all that.
I want to get to crime, but I want to just say this, because the MTA has had some financial troubles since really the 70s. And so if you talk to a New Yorker, they're like, why can't they just catch up? They're getting federal funding, they're getting money from the state, now the fares are going up, they're getting congestion pricing. Why does there always seem to be a deficit?
Listen, the MTA relies a lot less on, it is much more efficient than almost every other transit system in America. Fare box recovery, which is, how much subsidy we need from everybody, has actually been higher in New York than other places. So we're really efficient compared to other transit systems. Transit is not, it's never been a business that pays for itself just by the fare box. And in fact, the subway system, which was started by private enterprise, went bankrupt and was handed over to the city because they couldn't make it work back in the 1940s. We are among the most efficient, and we carry 40% of the nation's mass transit users. Mass transit is like air and water to New Yorkers. We need to have it be successful, and we're making it successful. Ridership is coming back, crime is down, and we are providing the highest level of service. Everybody else is talking about cutting service in the United States, and we're providing higher service.
Major perspective shift for people to understand that, right? Because they look at things and they say, well, no, I don't feel that way because I look at the numbers. But let's talk about crime. Crime is going down on the subways. Part of the problem was getting the pre-pandemic people to come back to work, and also folks who want to feel safe on the subways. How are we doing when you take a look at mentally ill, homeless on the train, some of the things that were deterring people from getting back?
Well, listen, first of all, crime is the first issue. And Governor Hochul and Mayor Adams stepped up with a subway safety plan that they called Cops, Cameras, and Care. And it has made a huge difference. We have much lower crime on the system than we did a year ago. In fact, we're below pre-COVID levels of crime on the system. So the system, you never want to say we're done, because that is an everyday occurrence. The NYPD does an amazing job. I met with the new police commissioner, Eddie Caban, just recently to talk about the new things we're going to do. One of them is to figure out how to deal with quality of life issues, and especially the impact that people struggling with mental illness are having in all of our public spaces, especially the subway. We're talking to the mayor about even new initiatives that will try to move those folks into treatment and out of the public space, on top of what the governor and the mayor already set in motion a year ago.
Okay, last question here, and it's a bit of a lighter one. 2 years on the job. What are you most proud of? What do you most want to improve?
Listen, we saved, working with the governor and the legislature, we, saved the MTA from a situation where fares were going to have to go up dramatically and service was going to be cut. Saving the MTA's budget and saving New Yorkers' service because of their dependence on mass transit, that is probably the thing that I think we've had the most impact on. But ridership is back. If you apples to apples, we're like 80% of pre-COVID. We're making the whole system accessible with all these new ADA elevator projects that we're doing. We are investing in mass transit, and that's why you need congestion pricing, because unlike the rest of America, we depend on mass transit to make our city function. 90% of our commuters take mass transit, or a few of them walk to work. That's our city's lifeblood. We, unlike other places in the United States, we got to invest in it and make it better.
All right, so much I could talk to you about, but we're out of time. But good to see you. Thank you for coming on, MTA CEO Janno Lieber. Still to